This is Making ASMR, and welcome to the first episode of Movie Talk. First off, I wanted to apologize for the delay in the uploading. From here on out, I'm going to try to have 2, maybe 3 uploads a week, but sometimes, like this week, I just never found a chance, or in this unique case, I did find a chance, and I filmed a Sudoku video, but it turned into a disaster. Essentially, I tried soft-spoken for the first time, but the audio wasn't quite right, it wasn't relaxing, and I don't think I spoke quite soft enough, so I will give soft-spoken another test run on another video, because that Sudoku was also a disaster, because I was awful at the Sudoku and it took way longer than it should have, and it was just going to be more frustrating than relaxing. So just know, I did film a 50-minute Sudoku video that wasn't relaxing at all. That will never see the light of day, and for that, I apologize. But anyway, welcome to Movie Talk. What I want this series to be is a series where I could talk about specific directors or films or film movements in depth in a very interesting way that is unique, hopefully, to my channel. Okay, today is a kind of general first episode. I just wanted to act as a sort of recommendation, an introduction to and of the Criterion Collection. The Criterion Collection is a publisher of movies that what they do is they pretty much hand select movies they consider important, great, all throughout history, all from different countries, and they'll even find these lost movies and restore them and bring them back, and they just do a really great job. And essentially they've saved burnt films, they've saved acid affected films, because when you shoot a film on film, and if it doesn't get digitized, it is just on film forever, and unless somebody properly preserves it, it's just going to degrade over time. So Criterion has done a huge number as far as saving some very great foreign films and American films. And for that reason, I think anyone should get into them who is into movies at all. Because, like most people in middle school, I really started diving into films, but I just kind of did a very general dive. It was I watched Tarantino, I watched Nolan, Scorsese, I watched Kubrick, all the IMDb top 250, those kind of movies that are very mainstream good, and undoubtedly many of them are great. But I think there's a whole nother level of enjoyment that comes when you start diving into things like foreign cinema and film movements and new waves. Like a new wave would be like the French New Wave, which brought about a lot of innovations by means of less formal productions, and some by necessity, like the jump cut was invented, and maybe I'll talk about that some other time. But when you dive into these sort of films, I think you start to get a broader appreciation for what the medium can accomplish, as well as you just see some really good stories told really well, shot really nicely, and yeah. So I own about 40 of these, and given that there's hundreds, 40 Criterion movies is not that much, but they are expensive. So I have 40, but I've garnered those over time by asking them for holidays, or occasionally I'll get really lucky and I'll find one for dirt cheap in a used DVD store or something. Somebody who doesn't know how much they're worth. But because each film includes a large number of special features, all catered by Criterion themselves, as well as the restoration I mentioned is a painstaking process where they will go through and fix the audio and the visual frame by frame to get it sounding how it was meant to sound by the director. And they'll even often have the director's approval. I don't think the sticker's on the plastic, but when they're still wrapped in plastic, they'll sometimes have a sticker that says director approved with the signature. And the amount of work they put into each release is insane. They design the covers themselves, and they're always beautiful. And they each get a number based on when they were released in the collection. This is number 360. There we go. Show it to the camera. So, what I did today is I chose 5 films that I have watched, because a lot of them I haven't watched, but 5 I've watched that I'm not so interested in talking about more in depth. So I just want to give you a brief look at 5 different films in the Criterion Collection to maybe give you the idea of what they do, the kind of films they put out, the variety of films they put out, and just what I think of a couple of them. So, first up is Symbiopsychotaxiplasm, 2 takes by William Greaves. So this is a film where this man, William Greaves, got all these people together, and it's a documentary of sorts. And what he did is he got all these people together thinking they were making another film, but the actual film was him filming the making of the film. So in this way, it's kind of like an experiment where he is kind of capturing the making of a film. So if it sounds kooky, it kind of is, but at the same time, it never really goes anywhere, and that was my main complaint with it. It feels like it's getting at something, and there's cool moments where the crew has their own camera, like all the people who aren't in on it have their own camera, and they're like discussing what they think is actually going on, but it just kind of fizzles out, and it never really gets to anything. But I've only watched the first take, which was done in 1968. I've never watched take 2 from 2003, so maybe that one, when he did it again, gets at something. I'll have to watch that sometime, so I wish I could say more. But yeah, not one of my favorites I own, but it is an interesting idea. I love the cover. Great title, and I'm glad I can say it. But yeah, really sleek design, and I'll show you. Every single Criterion Collection movie comes with some inserts, so not only are the supplements on the disc, but there's also these great pamphlets that include essays and various things about the films. Let's see, this is just the credits. Still no answers. This might be about how the film didn't get answers, but it did raise a lot of questions, which was my complaint with it. Look at that. Really beautiful stuff. They really have a care for just the aesthetics of the packaging and what's included inside that you don't see by anyone else who puts out DVDs. It's just kind of beautiful, just owning them. Even if I don't enjoy a Criterion film, I always don't regret having one, because publishers are these indie, experimental, foreign films that you likely wouldn't otherwise see. Up next is Days of Heaven. So Days of Heaven is by Terrence Malick, Terrence Malick, and you might know him as the guy who did The Tree of Life and all of his subpar films after that. But this was, I believe, his second film. I think he did Badlands, then he did this, and this movie is pretty incredible. It is very slow, but as Terrence Malick films go, it is filled with gorgeous scenery that just evokes all sorts of emotions in a very simplistic way. There's a scene where locusts invade the farm and they light a fire to get rid of them, and it is just like, wow. But here it is. Look at that, it lines up with the case. Let's flip through this. Cast chapters on earth as it is in heaven. Just a nice shot there. Yeah, so Terrence Malick does this thing where he has characters narrate, do voiceover that is very poetic, and I could see how it turned some off. Even in these early days where he wasn't so grandiose, it still feels a bit poetically or thematically expositional. But his visuals cannot be denied, and I think this film is way more focused and subtle than something like The Tree of Life. And I really appreciate The Tree of Life, but it does lack subtlety in its visuals and narration. So that's another one. Days of Heaven, I believe I've watched this twice, but even then it's been years. And next up is An Autumn Afternoon by Yasuhiro Ozu. Ozu is one of the great Japanese filmmakers, and he is known for very long, not long time-wise, but very long feeling films where not much happens and it's just familial happenings, like a day in a life film, I guess you'd call it. And this one is the very first one I saw. And basically, this was way back in high school. I got into Criterion around 11th grade, and I saw a couple then. And this was one of the first I saw, and it is very slow. It's about a daughter getting married, and it's just about the family, kind of how they change in that moment. And yeah, it's really good. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'd sooner watch a different one of his than revisit this. But look at that. That is just beautiful. Both from a design standpoint by Criterion, but also cinematography by Ozu's cinematographer. But yeah, this one was one that was restored. So that is like, they get the best copy they can. If they're lucky, they can get the original negative, which is usually the cleanest of the film. And then what they do is they scan it, either a 2K or a 4K scan, and then frame by frame they have to kind of scrub out in like Photoshop the like dust, the scratches, the noise, stuff like that. And that takes forever. But they are saving classic film, so for that, it's truly great. Since then, I believe I've seen his Only Good Morning is the other film I've seen. And Good Morning is a great film. I enjoyed more because it follows little kids, and I think that lends itself to more entertainment, even though it still is a very dry, slow film. The kids were great in Good Morning. Here's some shots. How great are these? Who's this? I remember the imagery better than I remember the story, but it's been 4 or 5 years. There's that shot again, but he's missing. Is this like a flip book? Maybe. So that's An Autumn Afternoon by Yasushiro Ozu. Spine number 446. So I think this is one of the later Ozus they added. When you have a filmmaker as prolific as this, they usually try to get most of their works in the collection, unless there's a few duds, but even then, like, I believe it's on The Killing, Stanley Kubrick's The Killing, they release on Criterion, and on that they include Killer's Kisses, one of his first films that was way less successful, but occasionally they'll even include duds just to have a complete sort of collection. Look at the filmmaker. I think too often filmmakers try to hide their first films. They try to make it seem like they just started on a good one, rather than be honest and let people see their progression, when I think that progression is very valuable. Even Kubrick, I think, destroyed his very first film, and the only way you can see it is by like scheduling an appointment with a museum, and even the people who do that say it's not worth it because it's not very good, which is funny. Next, probably my favorite of the bunch I'm showing today, Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. Now this is funny to me, because for the longest time, I thought this was a Japanese film, and while it is entirely in Japanese, it is made by Paul Schrader. Paul Schrader is the writer of Scorsese films like Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, as well as a director of his own, but he usually makes American films in English. But for this one, which tells Mishima, is a sort of fictionalized autobiography of the writer Mishima and his life, combined with interpretations of his work, and it is very striking and beautiful and stylish and amazing. But this is all in Japanese, so Paul Schrader, an American, made a film all in Japanese. And the interesting thing about this is when it initially released, I believe it had English voiceover, but they have restored it to a Japanese voiceover, and I'm glad I heard that version, because I think it would have been really jarring having the character Mishima have an English voiceover when the whole film is spoken in Japanese. But yeah, it tells his story about rising the ranks, I believe, or he gets pretty high up in the military ranking or something of the sort, and he takes it over. But that's his life story. But interspersed with that are beautiful interpretations of his work, and I really love it. Let me see if they have it in here. Here's a couple shots. Let's see if they have the sets. I really love the sets in this movie, especially in the interpretation portions of his work. Like here, I wish this jaw-dropping. This one too. Like, just so well done. And so interpretive. And sometimes I like when film is very honest with its making. Like, it doesn't try to hide the fact that it's a set. It allows it to look like a set. And there's something impactful and powerful there about its honest. There's one that's crazy. All these beautiful interpretations of his work. So yeah, I really love this one, and it was just a shocker to find out. Look at that. A shocker to find out that Paul Schrader made it. Yeah, here, the sets are incredible. I can't stress it enough. It was really my main takeaway from the film. Look at these. Yeah, you just gotta let those speak for themselves. Yeah. Nice job, Paul Schrader. Great movie. I really like this case too. And it's like holographic, which is really cool. But yeah. Check it out. Maybe a good starting point, because it is an American-Japanese hybrid film where you have American directing sensibilities mixed with Japanese influences, all told in Japanese. So maybe it's a good kicking off point for expanding your cinematic horizons. Kind of goes well with the carpet. It clashes, but you know what I mean. And I didn't mean to save this one for last because I have so little to say about it. But this is Hopscotch. And this is one that I found at my local DVD store. And I was able to get this for like $2 or something when it's worth at least 5 times that. And this is one of their oldest. Still 163. But they eventually changed to the Criterion C in the corner, but this is how they used to label them, the Criterion Collection. I definitely like the new labeling more, but it's a shame because then you have a mix of new and old labels in your collection. And I think, going back to Mishima, they just did a Blu-ray release of this. This is just DVD. And I'm not so picky about Blu-ray and DVD. I usually think DVD is pretty damn good quality, and Blu-ray is just a step above, but not usually worth the money. I'm usually happy with DVDs, especially modern ones. Sometimes you get some old DVDs and they have really janky aspect ratios, and they don't fill the TV, or they're full screen and they cut off the frame. Just awful. But modern stuff, they say okay. So Hopscotch is sort of a spy, government caper, James Bond film without the action. You know, it's like these government agents chasing a guy, and it's just a wild goose chase. Literally the longest wild goose chase I've seen in a film, though I haven't seen Catch Me If You Can, so I assume Catch Me If You Can is very similar to this film, at least in that sort of feeling. And this is one of their earlier releases, so I don't think they had nailed the aesthetic yet. I don't think this is awful, but looking at the other stuff I have, this is just sort of subpar. Though I like the DVD. 5 I chose to show today. And they're all good movies. Criterion doesn't really put out bad movies, but it puts out movies that are interesting, that might not necessarily be memorable or entertaining, but movies that I could at least say I'm happy I watched. I've never watched a Criterion and felt like I wasted my time, though Hopscotch is the one that I was closest to being like, it was just like a good kind of British film, which is fine, but I think in their early days, they had a lot less pull with the kind of movies they could get, so sometimes they had to take what they could get, whereas in kind of the middle, they had a lot of pull because they gained a lot of reputation, and they could start getting pretty much any film they want as long as they had the restoration capabilities to really put it out in high quality. And now, my fear now is that they've put out so many great movies. I think they're almost at or past 1,000 on the Spine numbers. And my fear now is they put out so many great movies that they're running out of movies to put out. And they are just kind of like doing what they could get. Like, they added The Game by David Fincher, which I like, but it's hardly even close to his best film. It's kind of just a David Fincher film. And The Virgin Suicides, I wasn't crazy about that. Yeah, they're adding a lot of things that seem like The Breakfast Club. They're adding a lot of things that seem like crowd pleasers and stuff that is interesting to see their treatment give it to it, because Breakfast Club had a whole lot of like deleted scenes that had never been seen on their version. But at the same time, they run the risk of ruining what makes them so special by releasing all these expected mainstream films. Not to sound like a hipster, but I guess I do. But yeah, this was my introduction to the Criterion Collection, which will probably encompass a lot of the episodes of Movie Talk going forward. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you tune in next time. Thanks for watching. This has